Welcome everyone to Discover This. Well, today we're in Tucson, Arizona, and we're going to be talking about some outlaws, some gangsters, and some things that happened here in Tucson. And right behind me is Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday. And those aren't the outlaws we're going to be talking about today, but we're here at the Amtrak station because right here where I'm standing is where Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday cornered Frank Stillwell and shot him dead right here on this spot. Now, Frank Stillwell is who Wyatt Earp and a number of other people believed had murdered Wyatt's brother Morgan Earp. So they chased Frank Stillwell down and shot him dead right here. But today we're actually going to be talking about John Dillinger and his time in Tucson. So let's do this. So in January of 1934, John Dillinger had been proclaimed public enemy number 1 by J. Edgar Hoover. Dillinger and his gang needed to hide out, lay low. Everyone was looking for them in the Midwest, which was their stomping grounds where they committed most of their crimes. So the gang went west to the desert Southwest, where they hadn't been before and where they figured no one was looking for them. On January 21st, 1934, Charles Makeley and Russell Clark, along with Clark's girlfriend Opal Long, arrived by car in Tucson, Arizona. They checked into adjoining rooms at the Hotel Congress using aliases. They were given rooms on the 3rd floor. Over the course of the next couple days, Harry Pierpoint and his girl Mary Kinder and John Dillinger and his girl Evelyn Billy Frechette arrived by car and checked into the Arizona Tourist Court, also using aliases. Now it's now called the Arizona Motel, but same layout, same place. It's down here on 1749 6th Avenue in Tucson, and this is where Dillinger and Pierpoint were staying. So the corner of 6th and Congress, just 1 block down from the Hotel Congress, used to be Owl Drug, which is where this transit center is now. And Owl Drug had a lunch counter, and John Dillinger and maybe some of his cohorts would come in for lunch every day that they were here. And Dillinger ordered the 35-cent triple-decker sandwich each day. Now the lunch counter person noted that John Dillinger had a habit of chewing gum, and when his lunch order came, he would take the gum out of his mouth and stick it under the counter. The guy also noticed that the guy that ordered the triple-decker sandwich dressed like an Easterner, certainly not somebody from the Southwest desert. Around 7:15 on January 23rd, a fire broke out at the Hotel Congress in the basement, and it quickly spread up the elevator shaft and engulfed the 3rd floor. The fire department responded, and with their ladder truck got everyone out safely. They helped Charles Makeley, Russell Clark, and Opal Long all get out safely and get down to the ground floor to the street here. When they got to the street, Makeley and Clark asked 2 of the firemen if they would go back up the ladder and get their luggage out of their rooms on the 3rd floor, and they'd give them $12 to do so, which is a pretty good sum in 1934. So the firemen agreed to do it, and Makeley and Clark gave them an address to have the luggage shipped to once they got it down to this street. The 2 firemen brought the luggage down and, per the arrangement, had it delivered to an address provided by the gangsters. Later that day, the 2 firemen were back at their firehouse reading True Detective magazine when they noticed some pictures in the magazine, and it was of the Dillinger gang. And 2 of the members of the Dillinger gang were the guys that asked them to take the luggage down from the 3rd floor. So the firemen notified the Tucson Police Department. They gave Tucson PD the address where the luggage was delivered to. Okay, now this is the house that Makeley and Clark rented. And there's a little bit of a backstory here. This is 927 North 2nd Avenue, Tucson. And It's believed that the gang actually rented this house before they came out to Tucson. And then when they got in here, the floors had been waxed, so when they came inside, it was stunk really bad. So that's why they ended up at, the two guys ended up at Hotel Congress and the others ended up at the Arizona Motor Court. So that's why they also had the address handy when they were evacuated from the fire at the Hotel Congress. So police did their surveillance here, stakeout around this house, and after a couple days, on January 25th, 1934, Charles Mackley and Opal Long were followed by the police to Grabe Electric. I'm going to pronounce it Grabe. It's G-R-A-B-E. Maybe it's Grabby, but Grabe Electric. And that was down there by the Hotel Congress in that area. So they followed him from this house back down to that way. And looks like they were going to go buy a radio. So they got to the electronics store, went inside, and they were immediately arrested by the police. Now the other police that were still here at this house, one of them posed as a messenger and knocked on the door and got Clark to open the door, and after a bit of a struggle he was also arrested, and that was around 11 a.m. Harry Pierpoint and Mary Kinder were traffic stopped by a Tucson police officer. That officer, knowing who he had stopped, told Pierpoint that he needed to follow him to the police headquarters to get a visitor's sticker for his car. You see, Pierpoint's car had Florida license plates, and the officer told Pierpoint that, per the law, he needed to get that visitor sticker to temporarily register his car in Tucson. So Pierpoint actually fell for that and followed the officer to the Tucson Police Department headquarters, where he and Mary Kinder were promptly arrested. Then around 6:30 p.m., walking up this walkway was John Dillinger and Billy Frechette, and they were immediately surrounded by police and arrested. So the whole gang had been arrested at this point, with the cooperation of the Tucson Fire Department and the Tucson Police Department. The whole gang was arrested without incident, no shots fired. Quite an accomplishment. Now, the police went in and searched the house. They ended up finding the luggage that had been taken out of the Hotel Congress after the fire. And the reason the luggage was so heavy was because it was full of weapons. They found machine guns, rifles, revolvers, bulletproof vests, ammunition. That's why the luggage was so heavy. They also found $26,000 in cash. Now, John Dillinger, after he was arrested, referred to the Tucson police as Hicktown Police. But this is the house where he was arrested at, and January 25th, 1934, Tucson, Arizona. So after being arrested, the gang was brought here to the Tucson Police Department, where they were booked. Their photos were taken, fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. And once they were all in custody in the jail at the Tucson Police Department, the Tucson Police Department actually used the gang's own guns, the ones from the luggage, to guard them overnight till they could have their court hearing in the next couple days. On January 26th, everyone had their day in court, and it was here at the old Pima County Courthouse. Dillinger, Mackley, Pierpoint, and Clark were arraigned on fugitive warrants and resisting arrest. Evelyn Frechette and Opal Long were held for possessing a gun, the epitome of a gun mole, right? Mary Kinder was held as a material witness and resisting arrest. On January 27th, Evelyn Frechette and Opal Long were released. On January 29th, John Dillinger was extradited to Indiana by airplane. On January 30th, Pierpoint, Makeley, Clark, and Kinder were transported by train to Ohio. Now, after Dillinger was arrested, and the counterperson at Our Drug noticed the photo of Dillinger in the newspaper, he realized that was the stranger who was chewing the blackjack gum and stuck it under the counter. So he went and got a jar and scraped the gum from underneath the counter, preserving Dillinger's gum. He eventually donated the gum to Arizona's College of Pharmacy in Tucson, where you can still see it on display today. Now, the fire at Hotel Congress destroyed the third floor and roof and severely damaged the first and second floor. Retaining the original design and structure, the Hotel Congress was rebuilt between 1935 and 1940, but with only 2 floors, as it is today. They also added that large red neon sign on the top of the roof there. So that's the story of John Dillinger in Tucson and his arrest and his plan to lay low and hide out, foiled by a waxed floor and fire at the hotel. So I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you like this John Dillinger story, Tucson hosts a Dillinger Days every January around the time of the arrest, so about the third weekend or so, but you can look that up. Google it, Dillinger Days Tucson. And that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you watching, and we will see you next time on Discover This.